fucking die! Where's Abby?
Those are your fucking people. You're my people.
I don't think I can ever forgive you for that, but I would like to try.
And we're back. When we last left off, Ellie and Dina were on their way to Seattle to exact vengeance for Joel's gruesome and untimely death. All they know about his killers is that they're from a group called the Washington Liberation Front, and with that vague but crucial information in hand, they're about to arrive at the gates of the Seattle Q.Z. So, let's dive into Seattle Day 1, the Ellie edition.
I didn't want to be a bird. Well, you're a bird now, aren't you?
After Maria reluctantly agrees to let Ellie and Dina pursue revenge, a title card reads Seattle Day 1. This sets up the most awesome twist in the game about 10 hours later when we come back to Day 1. But for now, it just indicates that the plot is in full swing. The bulk of the game will take place in Seattle, some really shocking and momentous things will happen there, and we're just getting started. This is the first day of a multi-day ordeal. We come back in at the tail end of Ellie and Dina's treacherous cross-country journey as they arrive on the outskirts of Seattle in an overgrown forest. Ellie insists she knows where she's going, but Dina suspects she's lost. And who could blame her? The vegetation is so overwhelming that it's hard to even determine the way forward. All this lush greenery re-establishes what makes the world of The Last of Us so hauntingly beautiful. In the post-apocalyptic ruins, nature has reclaimed the environment. The ugliness of this world is all in the human survivors' actions. The world itself is beautiful because Mother Nature has taken back her planet. Ellie and Dina are discussing the first time they killed a fully conscious, non-fungal person, and the way each of them describes their first kill says a lot about their character. Dina is short on details. She explains the entire thing in 9 words.
Guy was coming at my mom. I stabbed him.
She's very reserved and clearly doesn't like talking about it. She's definitely not proud of it. Ellie, on the other hand, tells the story of her first kill, which we witnessed in the first game, as a real anecdote with a beginning, middle, and end.
This hunter was on top of him, drowning him, and Joel couldn't get to his gun. Jeez. Were you scared? Well, I didn't even think. I just ran in there, grabbed his gun, and shot the guy in the face.
She sets the scene, describes how she was feeling, and seems proud that she had the quick-thinking, steady hand and nerves of steel to save Joel from that hunter. It highlights the stark contrast in Ellie and Dina's relationship to violence, and that contrast will only become even starker and drive a wedge between them over the next few days. As Ellie and Dina ride through the forest looking for the remains of a thriving metropolis, Dina tries to guess who the WLF might be out of all of Joel's past enemies. She speculates that it might be the black market smugglers from Boston or the cannibals from Colorado, but Ellie cuts her off.
Dina, Joel crossed a lot of people. I don't see the point in guessing.
There are too many to choose from. It's not that much of a shock that a group of people hunted Joel down and killed him. It's more of a shock that only one did. In the back of her mind, Ellie knows Joel wasn't the best person in the world. She knows he betrayed and wronged a lot of people because she's one of them. She knows that whoever tracked down Joel and killed him probably had a good reason. But she's so focused on revenge that she doesn't even want to think about that. She doesn't want to think about a lot of things. She just wants to find Joel's killers and give them a taste of their own medicine because she thinks it'll make her feel better. These early sections of Ellie's Day 1 used to be one of my least favorite parts of the game. It's slow paced, the action sequences are few and far between, and there's a lot of faffing around with gate codes and generators and the endless search for gasoline. After the intensity of that opening act, it brings everything grinding to a halt. But it's come around to being one of my favorite parts because it's a nice break after that intensity. It's so much lighter and less stressful than the rest of the game. From here, it just gets grimmer and grimmer until there's nothing left of your soul. And I love just hanging out with Ellie and Dina as they fall deeper and deeper in love. It's almost like a post-apocalyptic Goonies, a couple of kids embarking on a wild adventure. It's gotten to the point where when I finish the game and I'm devastated and heartbroken and emotionally drained, I just want to start it all over again so I can get back to when Ellie and Dina were riding around downtown Seattle falling in love. I've seen some people complain that Ellie and Dina get together too quickly. They kiss one night, have sex the next night, and they're an official couple by the time they leave for Seattle the next morning. Those complaints are probably why the TV show waited until they got to Seattle to get them together, which caused all kinds of knock-on problems as it told a budding love story and a grisly revenge story simultaneously. But I don't see an issue with the trajectory of their relationship in the game. They've been best friends for years at this point, and they've been secretly in love with each other for at least a couple of those years. They've already laid the groundwork for a romantic relationship, so they can skip the getting to know you stage and go straight to the intimacy and deeper commitment. As they see some rusty old cars and street signs, they realize they're getting close to the city. There's so much great in-game dialogue as Ellie and Dina want to find out as much about each other as they can. If you get off the horse to grab a superhero card from a bus stop, it triggers a fascinating little conversation about which superpower they'd want if they could have any superpower.
Oh, another superhero card.
Question. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Ellie's choice is very telling. She'd want the power of invisibility. It speaks to her depression and nihilism that she wants to just disappear. When they get onto the highway, they see a big sign for Seattle. They find an old tourist map that will become an invaluable resource, and before long they reach the gates of the Q.Z. The gate has an ominous graffiti tag, a WLF logo with the caption, "Trespassers killed on sight."
WLF. Trespassers killed on sight. That's friendly.
There's a couple of dead bodies nearby to prove they're not bluffing. Ellie climbs over a crack in the wall and figures out a way to open the gate for Dina and Shimmer. This part is a bit tedious, I'll admit. There might be a few too many steps to this puzzle. On my first playthrough, I got stuck on this bit for so long that it killed all the momentum. That's not a fault of the game, per se. It's more a fault of me being an idiot. But Naughty Dog could have made it slightly easier to get into this quarantine zone. Over the course of her habitual rummaging through drawers and cupboards, Ellie finds a hastily scrawled but surprisingly comprehensive note that contains all the gate codes, albeit with one smudged off, as well as 2 possible locations of gasoline and the name of a WLF base called the Seravina. Once you get Dina and Shimmer through the gate, you get back in the saddle and ride on. Around the corner you spot a building called the Seravina Hotel, so that'll be your first port of call. But the hotel is safely contained behind a gate, and although you've got the code, the gate has no power, and the generator it's hooked up to has no gas. Luckily, the note already told you where gas might be, so Ellie and Dina head downtown to get their hands on some fuel. And then The Last of Us Part 2 briefly becomes an open world game.
You can forget all your troubles, forget all your cares, so go downtown. Things will be great when you're downtown.
Shying away. I'll be coming for you, okay? Take on me.
The only 2 places you have to go in the downtown area are the synagogue and the courthouse. The gas shows up in the second one you go to, no matter which order you go to them, so you can't skip one or the other. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many different places to explore downtown, you could hang out there for a couple of hours. And you should, because there's a lot of great material in those explorable areas. This section is a bit slow and quiet compared to the rest of the game, but that's very much by design. If you're taking a bleak journey into the dark side of the human soul, you have to start off in the light. This downtown adventure kicks off Ellie's Seattle Crusade at a nice calm 0, so it can gradually crank it up to an 11 by the time we're torturing wolves and getting pushed out of office windows and sailing through a flooded metropolis. After traversing a crater where the military bombed the city in a desperate last-ditch attempt to contain the infection, you come across a bank buried under a mountain of rubble. When you get inside, you find a body-armored bank heist crew who have all turned into clickers. According to a note you find in the vault, some small-time crooks had the bright idea to rob a bank during the early days of the outbreak, because the police were busy dealing with zombie attacks. One of them got infected, and his fellow thieves locked him in the vault to succumb to his infection, so he took the easy way out.
Sorry to take the easy way out. Ow! Oh, fuck! Ow! Oh! Oh! God!
In the vault next to this poor guy's skeleton, you find supplies and a shotgun and stacks of useless cash. It's like a little side quest. In one of the safety deposit boxes, you find Nathan Drake's ring, which is not only a great Easter egg, but a hint that The Last of Us takes place in the same universe as Uncharted. I wonder how Nate's holding up in a post-Cordyceps world. How long would his death-defying look keep him safe? As they ride around the decimated town, Ellie and Dina trade personal questions in their ongoing quest to learn absolutely everything about each other. They want to understand each other better and share everything. thing. They ask each other what they'd do with all that stolen money if they lived in a world where money had any value. Dina says that in the old world she'd get a farmhouse, but Ellie reminds her that she can still do that in the new world, which is a bit of foreshadowing for later, but we'll get to that. Ellie says she'd use her riches to go to space. This is a sweet callback to part 1 when Ellie told Joel that her dream was to be an astronaut, but it also foreshadows something beautiful a bit later in the story. Dina is very condescending about Ellie's aspiration to explore the cosmos.
What would you get?
A space shuttle.
Oh, that's right. Your astronaut thing.
Fuck you, Dina, that's our dream. Ellie grew up in a QZ, but Dina didn't. So as they ride around the ruins of this QZ, Ellie educates Dina on how the QZs used to work.
Are these cages?
Holding cells. Soldiers had them in Boston, too. In Boston, we'd line up for blocks. And the food sucked.
I'd go crazy.
Well, some people did. Back in Boston, they catch you tagging a wall like this, beat the shit out of you. Or worse.
QZs sound like fun.
Dina asks Ellie what would have happened if she stayed in the QZ in Boston. Ellie guesses she would have become another soldier, but Dina can't picture her taking orders from anyone. And she's absolutely right. Ellie would have joined the Fireflies or led her own uprising before taking orders from Fedra. This is a classic case of Dina knowing Ellie better than she knows herself, which is what all great couples need. At the synagogue, Dina tells Ellie all about Jewish traditions. She wants to share her cultural identity and her pride in her cultural heritage with Ellie, and Ellie is eager to learn.
This place brings back a lot of memories. My sister used to drag me to a synagogue all the time.
You never struck me as much of a believer.
Nah, but I like coming from a long line of survivors.
Ellie asks Dina if she still prays, and she says she does. She said one before leaving Jackson, she said one at Joel's grave. It's not so much about speaking to God. I assume the possibility of a God pretty much went out the window the second mushrooms took over the world.
I think it calms me, helps me put things in perspective. It's a way to deal with grief, a way to show respect. It's what I know.
For Dina, prayer is a therapeutic exercise. She says it calms her and it's a way to deal with grief. Ellie is being handed a healthy way to deal with grief on a silver platter, but she sticks with revenge as her chosen method. It tells us there are better ways to channel these emotions before taking us on a grim odyssey into the darkest and most destructive way to channel these emotions. We only do grief the unhealthy way here, Dina. Ellie and Dina tell each other stories from their childhoods. Dina talks a lot about her older sister Talia, who's hinted to have been killed as gruesomely as Joel.
For the new year, my sister used to give me an apple dipped in honey. Ugh, now I'm craving it.
Talia was clearly the most important person in Dina's life, and she misses her dearly. But instead of going after her killers like John Wick, she keeps her memory alive by continuing to talk about her to the people she loves. That's another less destructive alternative to vengeance. It's not that Ellie isn't listening to Dina's advice, she's listening intently and actively getting to know her girlfriend on a deeper level, but she's so singularly focused on her goal that she doesn't hear it as advice. She can't see how it applies to her situation. She's not on the lookout for a healthier way to manage her grief, because she thinks she's already figured out the best way. The gasoline tank in the synagogue is all tapped out, so it's onward to the courthouse. Across the road from the courthouse is a quaint little coffee shop, where Ellie and Dina have a bit of banter about Joel's love of coffee.
Wasn't Joel all about coffee?
Kidding me? He'd trade half his stuff for a bag of beans.
I never got it. Tastes like burnt shit.
Thank you. Acquired taste, my ass.
If you go into the toilets, there's a jump scare waiting for you. This is one of the most effective jump scares in the game, because it pops up at the quietest, least eventful part of the story. You've let your guard down, so you're more susceptible to a good fright. In the toilet, you find a key for a place called Barco's. If you ride around a bit, you come across Barco's and the key lets you in. It's a pet shop that was converted into a makeshift WLF base in the early days of their revolution against Fedra. You find a photocopier tray full of propaganda and plans for an attack on a Fedra convoy. The downtown area is full of evidence of Isaac's rise to power. You can even find that convoy they attacked. The town is full of letters to and from the early wolves, and bodies of soldiers who were massacred during the uprising. All this environmental storytelling is building up the WLF to be a much, much bigger group than either of them are expecting. Dina mentions a group called the Ravens that were around when she lived in New Mexico. The Ravens were rebels, polygamists, and defenders of the Constitution.
In New Mexico, we had these guys called the Ravens. Protectors of the Constitution, they called themselves.
What was their deal?
Ex-Fedra types who thought Fedra had too many rules. They took multiple wives. Great dudes.
It seems like there are groups like this all over the country. You have to hope there are other safe havens like Jackson out there. But we've seen or heard about these sadistic factions in Boston, Pittsburgh, Colorado, Seattle, New Mexico, Santa Barbara, and even the surrounding areas of Jackson. And we've never heard of another civilized paradise like Jackson. Maybe Jackson really is one of a kind. As they talk about pets, Dina drops even more foreshadowing. She mentions the possibility of raising sheep, which they'll do when they get back to Jackson. But she also starts dropping hints about the little bun in her oven.
Oh, maybe when we're done with all this, we can get a nice little creature to take care of.
She's talking about JJ. At this point, Dina already strongly suspects that she's pregnant, so she's preparing Ellie for the big news. In a music shop, Ellie finds a guitar and plays the opening bars of Future Days. This is the first confirmation we get that Joel followed up on his promise to teach Ellie how to play guitar. She became a great guitarist and learned the first song he ever played for her. Dina pokes her head in and asks what she's playing, but Ellie shrugs her off.
What was that?
Nothing.
It's not nothing, it's everything. But Ellie's not ready to talk about Joel yet. She's a long way from the acceptance stage. She's still wallowing in denial, anger, bargaining, and depression. So she tamps down her feelings and stops playing Future Days after the first line. Instead, she plays a beautiful acoustic cover of Aha's Take On Me for Dina.
Today's another day to find you shying away. I'll be coming for you, okay? Take on me.
Ellie previously played this song for Dina at a campfire before they got together, and it was one of the first moments that Dina realized she liked Ellie as more than just a friend. I absolutely love this scene. The way that Dina gazes lovingly at Ellie gets me every time. What makes this sequence extra special is that it's easily missable. It's hidden away through a hole in the wall, so you have to go exploring to find it. I didn't spot it myself until about my 5th playthrough. The acoustic guitar and Ashley Johnson's vocals made me appreciate Take On Me. I'd never been a huge fan of it, but if you take away all the overproduced 80s flash, it's actually a really touching song with really touching lyrics.
Slowly learn life is okay. Say after me. It's no better to be safe than sorry.
I've seen some people call the Take On Me scene cringe, but they're two 19-year-olds in love. It's going to be a bit cringe. That's why I love it. It's so authentic to the mushiness of teenage love. When the song is over, Ellie and Dina reminisce about the first time she played it for her.
You should have kissed me then. I wanted to.
I love how open and honest they are with each other. They both admit that they liked each other long before they expressed those feelings. While they're riding around the courthouse, Ellie and Dina eventually find a way in, but they hear the unsettling screeches of the infected coming from inside.
Oh, hear that?
I hear it. Infected.
Sounds like they're in that building. This is gonna suck, isn't it?
After you sneak past the infected, or slaughter them all if that's your playstyle, you find some Fedra soldiers who were executed by the WLF. It gives a clearer sense of the hornet's nest we're walking into. We're going up against a group that beat the army. After shooting your way through a parking garage swarming with infected, you finally get your hands on some petrol and head back to the fuck Fedra gate. You gas up the generator, punch in the gate code, and finally move forward with the plot. Ellie and Dina follow a rogue infected over a wall and into the Seravina base. There, they find the body of a WLF soldier getting picked apart. We start to see Dina growing concerned with how obsessive and cold-hearted Ellie is getting in her pursuit of revenge.
If those fuckers who killed Joel got taken out by some random infected,
Then they'd still be dead, Ellie.
I'm not sure that's justice.
This is an early peek at just how much Ellie is being consumed by her vengeful rage. Dina is mostly on board with Ellie's unwavering belief that the people who murdered Joel deserve to die, but Ellie's thinking goes much further than that. It's not enough for these people to die, even if they die gruesomely at the hands of flesh-eating mutants. She needs to be the one to kill them, just like Abby at the beginning, and that scares Dina. As you make your way through the hotel, more wolf bodies start piling up, some with clean gunshot wounds. Dina suspects that a fully conscious, non-fungal person killed these wolves, and the infected just wandered in to pick at the remains. They go upstairs and find 2 more dead bodies, and they weren't just killed, they were tortured. One of them, Nick, was a part of the Salt Lake crew. These 2 guys have been tied to chairs, and Nick's buddy has scrawled the missing gate code on the floor in his own blood. In a deep cut Easter egg, the gate code 7032, shown upside down, looks like it says Joel. Either that's an intentional detail, or I've played this game far too many times. Just from the sight of this torture scene, Ellie knows exactly who did it: Tommy.
He was using them against each other.
It's the patented Miller family torture technique, previously seen in part 1. You ask one guy to write down the information you want, usually with a pen, but their own blood works just as well. Then ask the other guy to say the same information out loud. If the facts match, they're telling the truth. Before the end of the game, Ellie will try to use this technique herself and fail miserably, because as much as she wants to be Joel, she's not. Ellie tells Dina she doesn't want her opinion of Tommy to be soured by something as silly as a bit of torture, but Dina assures her that if she had her sister's killers tied to a chair, she'd do worse.
I don't want you to think bad of Tommy.
Ellie, if I had my sister's killers tied to a chair, I'd do worse.
This is an interesting parallel to a line that Mel says to Abby later on. When Mel is giving Abby the cold shoulder after being disturbed by the drawn-out way she killed Joel, Abby asks Mel whether she thinks Joel got what he deserved. Mel says he deserved worse, just like Dina said she'd do even worse things to Talia's killers than Tommy did to Joel's.
You don't think Joel deserved what he got?
I think he deserved worse.
But there's a difference between thinking that and saying it, and actually following through with it when you're face to face with them holding the knife. Everyone can relate to Ellie and Tommy and Abby's vengeful bloodlust, but they don't all have the stomach to actually go through with it when it comes down to it. I think Dina believes she'd do worse to Talia's killers, and Mel believes that Joel deserved even worse than what Abby did to him. But if Dina was actually looking Talia's killers in the eye, or Mel was actually standing over Joel with a golf club in hand, I think their conscience would get in the way and they wouldn't be able to make them suffer. With the gate code written in blood etched into her mind, Dina opens the next gate and they ride further into the QZ. But just as they're planning to find a safe place to rest, they ride over a trap mine and poor Shimmer's legs get blown off. Dina is thrown clear, allowing her to narrowly escape, but Ellie isn't so lucky. As the street is swarmed by wolves, Ellie sees their sinister ringleader Mike put Shimmer out of her misery with a bullet to the head. As Ellie reaches for her own rifle, Mike grabs it out of her hands and knocks her out with the butt of it. Suddenly, day one gets a lot more action-packed. Ellie and Dina are getting ready to call it a day, but their day is just getting started.
You know the smuggler that we killed out in Jackson?
Yeah.
This girl was there.
What?
They're coming after us.
When Ellie comes to, she finds herself tied to a pole in a school where the WLF have set up a base. As she's tormented by Abby's friend Jordan, she finally finds herself face to face with one of Joel's killers. The way Ellie looks at Jordan confirms that now that she's confronted with the reality of actually killing these people, she's not getting cold feet. Looking into his eyes, she wants to kill this guy now more than ever. As Jordan tries to figure out how big the revenge party is, Ellie coldly delivers one of the game's most iconic lines.
You can't stop this.
While Jordan wants to question Ellie about how many people came to Seattle with her and what their intentions are, Mike has received orders to kill her. As they argue over whether to execute Ellie, Dina appears in the skylight above them and opens fire. She kills Mike but misses Jordan and falls through the broken glass onto the floor. As Jordan grabs Dina and starts to choke her out, you regain control of Ellie. The first time I played through this sequence and I had no idea what was going to happen, I couldn't get that shard of glass fast enough. I don't think I've ever pressed square faster than when Ellie is slicing through the rope around her wrists. No one hurts our precious Dina. Ellie cuts herself free, grabs her knife and jams it into Jordan's neck. Honestly, I get such a feeling of satisfaction from watching Jordan goggle to death on his own blood. By the end of this game, the writers have done such an incredible job of getting you to sympathize with Abby and her friends. By the end of this game, I love Abby and Owen and Mel and all of Abby's friends. Except Jordan. Nothing could make me like Jordan. He's a smarmy little shit and I hate him. On replays, I don't enjoy watching Owen or Mel or Nora die, but I love watching Jordan squirm as Ellie stabs him in the throat. I know that goes against the game's message that no one deserves to die like that, but this guy has no redeeming qualities and he was about to strangle Dina to death, so fuck him. But after Ellie has killed Jordan, she doesn't feel any better about Joel's death. She doesn't feel the gratification she thought she would. She doesn't feel anything. But instead of interrogating that and realizing she's on a destructive path that won't solve anything, she immediately starts searching for the next person. Killing Jordan didn't make her feel better, but maybe killing his girlfriend Leah will. Even as the wolves are bearing down on them and they're being shot at, Ellie searches Jordan's body for clues and finds a note from Leah saying she's at a TV station. Ellie starts trying to figure out where the TV station is and Dina has to snap her out of it.
Was there a TV station on that map?
I don't fucking know. Come on.
Fuck, Ellie.
Ellie and Dina have to shoot their way out of the school, and we get a clearer sense of just how fucking huge the WLF is. They have a seemingly unlimited supply of soldiers and resources, and there's only 2 of us, and they've waged war against us. There's something haunting about the elementary school setting. All this grisly bloodshed with finger paintings and picture books in the background. There's a makeshift military base in the same place where little kids used to play tetherball and learn their flags. After escaping from the school, Ellie and Dina climb into an apartment building across the street and take a second to regroup. Ellie goes right back to the picture of Leah and looks for the TV station on the map. She doesn't even take a breather.
She's one of them.
Well, fuck her then.
It's a more or less straight shot through the Capitol Hill district, so they jump down and begin their treacherous journey to the TV station.
Hey, that round building. It looks like the TV station from your map.
Yeah. Come on.
As Ellie and Dina start heading through the Capitol Hill neighborhood, Dina tells Ellie that she encountered dozens of wolves on her way to the school to save her. She had no idea the WLF would be such a massive group, and she asks Ellie if that changes anything for her, but Ellie simply says no.
Do you think there were gonna be this many of them?
Tommy said this was a possibility.
Does that change anything for you?
No?
This is the start of a slippery slope. Nothing will deter Ellie from hunting down Abby. Not Dina being pregnant, not Tommy being in danger down at the marina, not even losing everything. Nothing will stop her. The WLF could be 1,000,000 strong and it wouldn't change anything for Ellie. She's gonna find and kill Abby no matter what, because she's convinced that'll bring her peace, even though it'll do the opposite. As they cut through a motel, Dina suggests that Abby's group showed mercy by sparing Ellie and Tommy's lives, so maybe they don't deserve to die.
Could be that you just weren't who they were looking for, so they let you go.
Ellie does not appreciate this hot take one bit. She shuts it down immediately.
Why do you think that they didn't finish
It doesn't matter. They fucked up.
Dina's making too much sense and Ellie won't hear it. She does the same thing later on when Jesse presents her with cold, hard logic about the endless cycle of violence.
You ever worried they're gonna come back to Jackson after us? I mean, we're going through a lot of their people.
Because of what they did.
Didn't Abby and her friends come to Jackson because of something Joel did?
This place isn't like Jackson.
Capitol Hill is crawling with wolves. Every time they think they've got a grasp on how big the WLF is, it gets even bigger. The Salt Lake crew is like 8 people, and they came to Seattle thinking that was the entire WLF. Around every corner in Capitol Hill, there's a platoon of heavily armed troops that have been ordered to find them and kill them. There's a powerful visual juxtaposition when a battle scene is set against a backdrop of tattered rainbow flags and fading pride decorations. Ellie and Dina can't figure out why there are rainbows everywhere.
What's with all the rainbows?
It's heartbreaking to see that they live in a world where homophobia is alive and well, but pride is a long-forgotten relic. On the way to the TV station, you come across a bunch of religious murals depicting a saintly woman with taglines like "Feel her love" and "May she guide you."
Who do you think it is?
Someone who wants us to feel her love.
This is our first sign of the Seraphites. Ellie won't actually fight them until tomorrow, but these paintings of their prophet are an early hint at their presence throughout the city. As formidable as the wolves are, they're not the only violent faction that Ellie will have to contend with in Seattle. We've stumbled into a goddamn war zone. As you pass under a bridge, you find the visceral remains of Tommy's horse. He's right ahead of them.
Hey, look. It's Tommy's. You okay?
Yeah, sorry, it's just the smell.
Dina throws up, ostensibly from the smell of the rotting horse corpse, but on a replay you realize it's actually an early sign that she's pregnant. You find another trail of bodies left by Tommy and have to find an alternate route because he blocked his path behind him. But Ellie and Dina eventually make it to the TV station, where they'll get a lot more than they bargained for.
There it is. Stay low. This is definitely not Tommy. That's her. That's the one who killed him.
When Ellie and Dina get into the TV station, they're horrified to find that all the wolves inside have been hanged and left for the crows. Ellie makes it clear that this isn't another Miller family torture technique. Someone else did this. It hints that there's yet another antagonistic force at play in this hellhole of a city, and we'll learn tomorrow that it's the same people who covered the walls in all those murals about love. But as shocking as this sadistic display is, it doesn't deter Ellie in the slightest. She keeps charging through the building looking for Leah. Dina's getting trepidatious, but Ellie is resolute.
I don't like
this. We're too exposed. We have to search all of it.
In a room upstairs, Ellie finds Leah dead, riddled with arrows. But amongst her things, there's a bunch of Polaroids of the Salt Lake crew. As she flips through these photos, Ellie sees Abby's face for the first time since she witnessed Joel's murder. Gustavo Santaolalla underscores the moment perfectly.
That's her. That's the one who killed him.
It captures the gravity of it and gives you a sense of the dark thoughts running through Ellie's head. She's filled with rage, and the fact that they're all smiling in these pictures makes her even angrier. Now she's got all their names. She's got her Kill Bill kill list, and it's time to start checking them off. And then day one reaches its harrowing climax. The full might of the WLF comes down on you. Although if you have the forethought to leave a trap mine by the door, you can wipe out the first wave in a jiff. You flee from the building and the wolves chase you into an abandoned subway station. You have to crawl under the rubble to get into the tunnels, where the nightmare can begin. In the final stretch of Ellie's first day in Seattle, you have to sneak through the collapsed subway system to get to the other side. It's pitch black, sections of it have an ominous red glow from the WLF's flares, and worst of all, it's filled to the brim with infected, including an all-new brand of infected, Shamblers. Shamblers have the size and strength of bloaters, but the moisture of Seattle has morphed them into the Elephant Man and stuffed them with acid spores. This is the scariest part of Ellie's 3 days, but it's not quite the most stressful. Getting through Hillcrest is a nightmare, and the encounter with the Seraphites in the park is pretty difficult. There's also the office full of stalkers, which is a good contender for the scariest and most stressful sequence in Ellie's Seattle days. Thankfully, there are a couple of moments of levity to break up the terror. In between what seems like an endless number of dark rooms teeming with clickers and shamblers, there are empty spaces where Ellie and Dina can rummage for supplies. There's a bit where Ellie makes a joke and Dina says, "You're my favorite, that always gets me," because that's what my first girlfriend used to call me.
You're my favorite.
When Ellie and Dina get past the last wave of infected, they can finally see some light peeking through a gap in the ceiling, and it looks like there might be a way out. Dina seems sick and exhausted and has to stop for a couple of breathers along the way, hinting at the bombshell she's about to drop. As they're climbing up a crashed train, the floor gives out underneath them and Ellie's gas mask breaks in the midst of a spore tornado. A spornado.
Ellie, your mask! Here, we can share mine. No! Don't take it off! Dina, stop!
Of course, we know and Ellie knows that she'll be completely fine, but Dina doesn't know that, so she panics. She thinks she's watching the love of her life die in front of her. Dina immediately starts taking off her own gas mask so they can share. In all likelihood, that wouldn't work. They'd both just be exposed to the cordyceps in the air and get infected. But Dina is desperate not to lose Ellie, and she's clinging to whatever futile hope she can. But Ellie knows she'll be fine and doesn't want Dina to risk her own life. So she pulls off the mask altogether to show Dina that she can breathe in the contaminated air. But even though she's seeing it with her own eyes, Dina can't believe it. It's like she's watching someone eat razor blades completely unfazed, or stab themselves in the leg without flinching. There's no time to discuss it now though, because there's a horde coming. The infected chase Ellie and Dina out of the subway station, and they barely make it out alive. I love how, even though it's a scripted escape sequence and you're supposed to make it out alive, a lot can still go wrong. It keeps you on your toes and makes it feel more like a real life or death situation that they narrowly escape. Dina can barely stand on her own, so Ellie helps her up and gets her to a theatre across the road, which will become their home base for the rest of their time in the city.
I wasn't sure, okay? I didn't want to be a bird. Well, you're a bird now, aren't you?
After Ellie gets Dina into the theater, they each have a big bombshell to drop on the other. This must have been a really tough scene to pull off, both for the writers and for the actors. There are two massive pieces of information being conveyed at once, and a lot of different emotions to balance. It's tricky enough to nail a scene with one crucial nugget of exposition to get out, but this one has two simultaneously. Ellie has figured out something's up with Dina and asks her to come clean, but Dina is still processing this impossible thing she just witnessed.
You want to tell me what's going on with you?
What's going on with me? Ellie, I just saw you breathe spores.
Ellie tries to explain that she's immune, but Dina is in total disbelief, just like she was the first time Ellie tried to tell her, and then she drops her own bombshell.
Ellie... I think I'm pregnant.
The pregnancy reveal changes everything. Suddenly there's another life at stake. Now if they get killed on this insane, needless quest for revenge, it won't just be Ellie and Dina who lose their lives. This unborn baby will die too. The next time they stumble over a trap mine or get cornered by a shambler, Dina's baby could get snuffed out before it's even born. Dina is surviving for two now, and she's just traveled across the country to deliberately get herself into a situation where her chances of survival are even slimmer than usual. After dropping this news on Ellie at the worst possible time, Dina cracks a joke to lighten the mood.
Don't worry, it's not yours.
I fucking love that line, and I love Shannon Woodward's delivery of a joke through emotional turmoil. Dina is tired and queasy and confused and scared, and Woodward still captures all those emotions and doesn't undermine those emotions. But her comic timing is spot on. She even captures the intention of the joke, using humor to diffuse the tension. I know I'm talking about it a lot, and the quickest way to kill comedy is to dissect it and over-explain it, but I just really like that moment. This is the best writing I've ever seen in a video game. Neil Druckmann and Hallie Gross are juggling two huge dramatic bombshells in a really heavy scene, and they still manage to fit in a big laugh that's perfectly in character and doesn't dilute the drama. Logic and reason, and Jesse, when he finds out, would say to get Dina back to Jackson ASAP, but Ellie still won't be deterred from seeking vengeance. She sees Dina's pregnancy more as a roadblock or a hiccup than a deal breaker.
I didn't want to be a burden.
Well, you're a burden now, aren't you?
This impulsive jab feels so realistic, saying something you can't take back in the heat of an argument, and it's the clearest sign that Ellie is much more concerned with her hunt for Abby than Dina's well-being. She's here to serve a cold dish, and now she's got a pregnant girl to look after. As Dina gets some much-needed shut-eye, Ellie turns this abandoned theater into a makeshift home. She turns on the electricity, finds the keys to the main theater bit, and gets settled in.
Joel, you'd love watching a movie in this place.
She finds a guitar backstage and plays the opening bars of Future Days once again.
If I ever lose you, I'd surely lose myself.
Joel is still on her mind. She struggles to speak about him out loud, but she's always thinking about it. As she plays Future Days flawlessly, at least when pre-rendered cutscene Ellie takes over, not when I'm controlling the guitar, we transition to a younger Ellie, still learning how to play guitar, struggling to get through those first few notes. A caption tells us it's 3 years earlier, and then we hear a familiar voice.
It's starting to sound like something.
It's only fucking Joel fucking Miller. This reveal bowled me over the first time I played the game. I had no idea how extensively flashbacks would play into the narrative. I thought we'd seen the last of Joel, and the last we saw of him was absolutely gruesome, so I was ecstatic to see him again. It was heartening to see the Joel we remember from part 1, the loving dad, and that's kind of the point of this flashback. Ellie feels so betrayed that Dina kept her pregnancy a secret because she's got a lot of experience with loved ones keeping secrets from her. The shadow of her relationship with Joel was the lie he told her about the Fireflies and their potential cure. So right after Ellie learns Dina's secret and she's reminded of Joel's secret, she goes back to a time when her relationship with Joel was much simpler.
12, 11, 10, 9, ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
The birthday gift might be my favourite section of the entire game. So much of the story focuses on Joel's worst qualities and his worst mistakes. But this flashback is a reminder of his best quality. He's an amazing dad who would do anything and go to any length to put a smile on his daughter's face. Short of actually taking her to space, this is the closest Joel could possibly get to realising Ellie's dream. It's the absolute best gift anyone could give her. As Joel takes Ellie to her secret birthday present, he pushes her into the water. Oops. And she gets him back by doing the same.
Looks like...
This is a great slapstick gag and an adorable father-daughter character moment, but it also shows us that Ellie can swim. There's no raft required to get her across this river. It confirms that Joel taught Ellie to swim after the events of part 1, just like he promised.
Hey, that's what we can do once we're done.
What's that?
You can teach me how to swim.
You got it.
This implies so much time spent together between the end of part 1 and now. After the 4-year time jump, their relationship is soured, but this shows that it didn't go downhill right after they got to Jackson and Ellie was already doubting Joel's story. They were good for a long time. Ellie spends the whole walk trying to guess what her present is. Early on, she throws out dinosaur as a joke answer, and it turns out she was actually right.
Holy shit, Joel.
We're here.
Oh my god, it is a dinosaur!
The reveal of the T-Rex statue is so good. Ellie can't believe her eyes, and Ashley Johnson really sells the excitement. She's so happy, and that makes Joel happy. He doesn't really show it, of course, because he's not a very emotion-forward guy, but you know he's crying tears of joy on the inside. Ellie doesn't waste any time climbing up the back of the dinosaur, and when she gets to the top, she lets out a bellow of pure delight.
Look at me! I'm on a motherfucking dinosaur!
But then she has the intrusive thought to jump off into the shallow pool below. A worried Joel pleads with her not to jump, but she jumps anyway.
Ah!
Joel's cry of terror, followed by a sigh of annoyance when he sees she's still alive, is such an accurate portrayal of parental panic.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, wasn't it awesome?
It's awesome that you didn't break anything.
Over the course of this series, you've gone from playing as the watchful parent trying to protect the reckless kid, to playing as the reckless kid doing reckless shit that worries the hell out of the parent. The game has been so bleak and depressing up to this point, confronting the darkest human emotions and the worst trauma imaginable. This flashback is such a welcome relief from the grim brutality. It's wholesome, light-hearted, almost Pixar-level heartstring tugging, especially considering it's only going to get even grimmer and even more brutal when we go back to Seattle. As they walk through the museum and look at all the dinosaur skeletons, Joel tells Ellie about Jurassic Park.
That is a velociraptor.
Actually, it's a Deinonychus.
Pretty sure these are velociraptors. Yeah. I mean, at least that's what they called them in this movie I saw.
She's never seen the film or even heard of it, so Joel promises her a movie night when they get back home.
Yeah, there's one scene where actually one of the guys said, "That's a big mound of shit."
What is this movie, and when can we see it?
Tell you what, when we get back to Jackson, movie night.
That's going to be one hell of a movie night. The world's biggest dinosaur fan watching the world's greatest dinosaur movie. Ellie asks Joel if he ever went to museums, and he says he went to every museum in Texas because Sarah loved him.
Did you go to museums a lot?
Yeah, Sarah loved him. I swear that girl dragged me to every damn museum in Texas.
It's so beautiful to see Joel talk so openly about Sarah. We went with him on the journey to overcome that grief and get to a healthier place with it, and it's heartening to see that it's stuck. I love the stupid running joke of Ellie putting her hat on every dinosaur she finds.
It's called a hatasaur.
Joel isn't impressed at first.
Is this gonna be a thing? Please don't let it be a thing.
But the gag culminates in a great punchline when he finally tries it himself.
Hey!
I see the appeal.
I don't have any tattoos, and I probably never will, but if I did get a tattoo, I think I'd get a hatasaur. The last dinosaur skeleton they see is craning its neck up onto the second floor. Ellie tells Joel it looks like a giraffe in another touching callback to part 1.
Looks like a giraffe.
She's remembering the moment that brought her back from the brink of a complete mental collapse, and showed her there was still a glimmer of hope in this fucked up world.
So fucking cool.
This whole flashback serves the same purpose. Back in the present, Ellie is going through unimaginable grief, but she can still remember the good times. Just when Ellie thinks she's done with her birthday present, she wanders into the aerospace section. She hasn't even gotten to the real present yet. The dinosaurs were just stocking stuffers, the warm-up act.
Did you know this was here?
This space section has a rotating model of the solar system, replicas of a bunch of different space shuttles, and a lunar rover. Ellie impresses Joel with her knowledge of the cosmos. He thinks the first animal that went to space was a monkey, but Ellie corrects him. It was fruit flies.
No, it was fruit flies. Yeah, in 1947. It was to see radiation exposure at high altitudes. And they lived through it.
Dadgum, bro, you are smart.
He's such a proud dad, the same dad who will read An Idiot's Guide to Space just to have some common intellectual ground with his kid. Joel thinks humans have only been to the moon twice, but Ellie tells him it's actually 6. Then, quietly to herself, she says, I'm gonna make it 7.
6 times.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm gonna make it 7.
She also journals a picture of a space shuttle with the caption, 1 day. Ellie, that day is today. Kinda. A bit further back in Ellie's journal, you can read the details of Dina's own amazing present. She and Ellie found some art supplies at a campground, and Dina used them to make a paper crown for Ellie. They might have only just gotten together romantically before heading to Seattle, but the deep, intimate connection between them goes back years. There's also an entry about Kat flirting with Ellie at movie night. Ellie wonders if she did it on purpose. She writes, maybe not, probably not. This breaks my heart as someone with similarly low self-esteem, who similarly struggles to believe someone could be attracted to them. The struggle is real. Ellie still hasn't gotten to the real present yet. As Ellie opens up a space re-entry capsule, Joel tells her if she's going to space, she's going to need a helmet. She puts on a helmet that smells of space and dust and climbs into the capsule. When they settle in, Joel hands her the real gift, a tape.
Happy birthday, kiddo.
Curious, Ellie puts it in her Walkman and hits play. It's an audio recording from the cockpit of the Apollo 11 mission. Her excitement when she figures out what it is so adorable.
30 seconds and counting. Astronaut reported fuel good. T-minus 25 seconds.
She closes her eyes, listens to the launch, and imagines herself going into space. Joel couldn't literally send Ellie to space for her birthday, but he came damn close. This is maybe the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, ever. I don't mean just in a video game, or just in some kind of narrative media. I mean it might be the most beautiful thing I've ever witnessed with my 2 eyes. If I ever have a kid, the miracle of that kid's birth would come in second place. Druckmann directs this sequence to perfection. The shaking camera, the soft cinematic lighting, Ashley Johnson's facial expressions conveying pure delight and enthusiasm. It's a deeply moving piece of visual storytelling. Once again, Gustavo Santaolla's music complements the beauty of the moment and makes it even more beautiful. The little string lilt when the rocket leaves the atmosphere and the recording falls silent, and Ellie's lifelong dream momentarily comes true, always makes my heart flutter, although that could have something to do with all the saturated fat in my diet. When she comes back down to Earth and climbs out of the capsule, Joel gives Ellie a little rocket pin to commemorate the moment.
Welcome to Earth.
Yeah.
This will become one of her most prized possessions, and one of her deepest symbolic connections to Joel. She still has it on her backpack at the very end of the game, when she's given up everything else. Joel has given Ellie one of the most joyous and memorable days of her entire life, and then, as with everything Last of Us, it takes a dark turn. Ellie wants to check out the other museum building. Joel didn't check out that one, so he's wary about going in, but Ellie wants to explore more, and she won't take no for an answer because it's her birthday, a card she's been playing a lot.
Hey, whose birthday is it?
You can't keep doing that.
So, without discussing it further, Ellie jumps off the ledge into the water below, worrying Joel yet again with another display of childish recklessness.
Ellie! Never give anyone else this much grief.
Joel boosts Ellie through a window so she can let him in, but the door's blocked. So now you're trapped alone in this pitch black building until Joel can find another way in. Suddenly, Ellie's impulsiveness doesn't seem so charming. There are a couple of jump scares with stuffed animal displays staring down at you.
Stupid fake animals.
And the first one you see is an elk surrounded by hungry wolves waiting to pounce. This is a not so subtle symbol of Joel being hunted by Abby and her friends. Abby and her friends are the wolves for obvious reasons, and Joel is represented by an elk because that's how Ellie sees him, big and strong and sure-footed. Ellie previously saw the bloody, eviscerated remains of an elk when she was on patrol with Dina, shortly before she found out Joel was missing. As Ellie continues to explore the dark museum, she sees a series of disturbing messages scrawled on the walls.
This guy needed a hug.
I killed for them, the woman we tortured, choked on her own blood. One of these messages simply reads, there is no light, a hint that our guy's a firefly. Then we hear an ominous noise in the distance. Is this guy still here?
Shit.
The game masterfully builds the suspense to a sigh of relief anticlimax when you find out it's just an animal scurrying around. The animal knocks Ellie down and she gets back up to see one last word written on the wall: liars. And appropriately, that's when Joel finally gets in and joins her.
Ellie?
I'm in here.
At this point, Ellie doesn't know for sure that Joel lied to her, but she strongly suspects it. She tried to put it out of her mind and move on, but she can't let it go, especially when she keeps coming across undeniable reminders like this. As she stands up, her torch reveals who the liars are. This massive Fireflies logo looming over Joel and Ellie symbolizes this lie still hanging over their relationship. Even when things were good between them, this unspoken rift was still there. And that about does it for Ellie Day 1. Stay tuned for Day 2, when we'll go to Hillcrest, the hospital, and the darkest corners of Ellie's soul. In the meantime, keep finding something to fight for. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked the video. Remember to like and subscribe and click on the little bell. And also seize the day and call your mom and be kind to yourself.